Hello, I'm Tortor. I'm a stop motion animator and filmmaker. And yeah, today I just thought I'd do an Ask Me Anything session. So anybody that's here watching along, if it's got any questions at all about me or my stop motion or what I do, then feel free to jump into the chat and ask me whatever you want. I'm actually dog free today. So anybody that's been watching and has seen Willow, and she's constantly bringing me something and sometimes being quite vocal as well, which I'm sure can be quite distracting. My sister's actually looking after the dogs today, so I have no dogs, which makes a change, but I am going to bring them all on one day. So we have three as a family, they're all sisters, and one day throughout this Christmas period, I'm gonna try and have all 3 of them, on the stream with me, which is probably going to be something that I regret because it will be absolutely manic. But, yeah, it would be nice for you to see all of them whilst they're all here. Um, but yeah, at the moment, I'm trying to reorganize my sort of studio space where I do all of my stop motion. And over the years, I've collected all sorts of materials, as I'm sure if you're creative as well, you probably do something similar, like all sorts of papers and cards and fabrics and little knickknacks and things that you think might be useful in the future. You know, you keep these things, packaging and um, all sorts of things that you see, um, and then put them all in a box somewhere and forget about them. And then when you're finally sorting out your space, you rediscover them. And so I'm in that place where I'm finding all these materials and props and things that I've collected over the years, and I'm just like so excited, and um, I just have so many ideas. I literally want to do everything all at once, which is good, but it's also frustrating because I feel like I need to split myself 10 ways to actually be able to achieve everything and every idea that I have in my head. But yeah, I'm hoping that it will help me next year to make more content because finally I will know exactly what I have and everything should be in its place and be organized. Because being ADHD, if something's not directly in my sight, I don't know that I have it. I don't remember. So if it's in a box somewhere, I literally, until I find it again, I completely forget that I actually have it. Um, but yeah, I've been collecting things over the years. I'm going to do some videos soon on my top things that I think if you see them you should get for like your stop motion films. And I don't know if anybody else watching buys things on Temu, but I have especially for my latest film, Stumbling Blocks, I bought lots of things that were so useful and they're very affordable. And I think if you're wanting to make sets that are environments and exteriors, I'm going to do a video showing my best buys for making a set like that because I was doing essentially it was set in a kind of mountainous, grassy, with tree kind of scene. And so I was buying all sorts of tiny miniature rocks and little kind of fake grass type things and little tufts of grass and stuff that would look like moss on a miniature scale, but also because there was like distance in my set and perspective, trying to make moss look right for the foreground and then the background. So yeah, I'm going to be speaking about that in a video soon. I'm going to make that, and yeah, I'm just excited about so many different things. I've literally got, oh my goodness, about 10 short films that I want to make. I'm gonna try and figure out which is my favorite, which is the one I feel like has the most important story I want to tell, and the most value to be told, and then I'm gonna be developing that next year. So I wanna do it properly this time, and I don't wanna rush it because my last 2 films, I've done each one in about 6 or 7 months, which is so fast for stop motion. I know my films were only short, but man, it was hectic, and, I really wanna take my time on the next one, especially as I will be doing most of the roles myself. So my plan is to, next year, take the whole year to literally develop the story and, go from, like, the idea in my head and force myself to get it out into a storyboard form and to really plan it. And then before I even start making it, to test that the story works with people. So time it out as an animatic, um, try and plan it the best I can because it's not my strength. But I feel like, I like to I like to push myself, and I think it's important to constantly be trying to improve yourself, and that's an area that I feel like I could definitely master as well. I just need to allow myself the time and patience with myself to just do it. So that's going to be my personal project for next year, in the background doing that. And I'll probably be sharing some of what I'm doing in my school. I know some people that watch here are in the school, and a couple of people wanted to join yesterday. I didn't manage to put a link in the chat because I had to go live over there, but there are links about in the videos if you're interested, and it's just literally, it's a free place for you to just share whatever it is you're doing with your stop motion or anything that you've seen. I've been watching some videos recently. In fact, somebody in my community, Kanitra, I don't think she's here right now, but she was telling me about this video game that is stop motion. So every element of it has been crafted in stop motion. And there is a YouTube channel where they've been sharing all the behind the scenes, and it's absolutely incredible. I can't wait to see more about it. So she's dropped the link over there. And I had a session last night where I was just watching all of their videos, and just absorbing, because it's just I find it fantastic, and it's like fantastic, yeah, I can't even speak, fascinating even, to just see how other people create their own stop motion stuff, because everybody approaches things in a different way. Everybody has a different process, and we're all solving the same problems ultimately, but we've all got different brains and we've all got different life experience, and we all solve things in different ways. And I just find that lovely. And the way that somebody's doing something might spark something else in your head to solve a different problem for yourself. And I just love that, how it's sort of like this crafty ecosystem where we can all help each other. So that's essentially what I'm trying to build on school, a place for us to all level up together and help each other thrive, and find success with our craft and what we're doing. Because although stop motion is very specific and very niche, it's also vast. And when you're doing it all on your own, you have so much that you need to learn and do and be good at. And I mean, I highly recommend, if you're able, to access other people and team up to do that. But there's also, um, I have huge admiration for people that just take it all on themselves. I'm one of those people that just enjoys dipping in and out of different areas of production, and I like to make the sets and figure out how to make the puppets and then animate and edit and do the sound. Like, I enjoy just trying everything. I may not be the best at everything, but I always find it far more impressive when a short filmmaker has done a lot of the work themselves, because I just think, wow. And it always blows me away. So yeah, I am hoping that this community will help, if we have challenges in different areas, to grow and learn and just be able to do more. There's a really good contact that I have, who's exceptional at armatures, hasn't specifically watched in, hasn't specifically, yeah, can't even speak today, hasn't specifically worked in stop motion, but is very good with like metal work and can create their own joints and things. And so I'm going to invite him into the community. And I hope that if people have questions on, like, I guess, how to make armatures, or how to just make their own joints and find the right pieces to build things, he might be really useful for stuff like that. So as and when I can, I'm going to try and invite people in to this community that have got value, that can hopefully troubleshoot things that perhaps I don't have the knowledge for, because I do have a ceiling to what I know in some areas. But yeah, I I used to work in development in TV, which is completely different to developing a short film. but there are transferable skills. And so, whilst I'm developing my own idea and working on the story, I'm going to share what I'm doing to help anybody else that also plans to start working on a short film next year. I know there's a couple of people, and I just think it would be fun to all be making our films together and maybe get to a point where, when we've all finished them, can do a sort of almost like a little mini film festival just within the school community and show them all. And I just think that would be really, really fun. Um, but yeah, if anybody, I should say again, if anybody here watching has any questions for me, feel free to drop them in the chat. I just thought I'd go live today as a kind of ask me anything session, because part of what I'm doing with these lives is allowing you to get to know me better. I feel like some people that have been with this channel for a while may have lost trust in me a little bit as a creator, because unintentionally I do often say and I'm going to like create content or do something and then I don't do it. And I promise you it's not intentional. I know now it's ADHD, and I always have the best intention and think that I have got the time and energy to do stuff, and then ultimately I don't. Um, I'm figuring it out and I'm working on it, and I'm hoping next year will be better because, like I say, I've got lots of ideas for things, and I'm going to try and get ahead of myself and then schedule the videos to find my consistency again. Because I did used to put a video out every week, and that worked really well for, I think it was about 18 months. I didn't miss a week. And this was probably 2020, 2021. But yeah, I obviously went off and I did other things. It's very hard to balance creating content when you've got to earn money and live. And when your content isn't generating you an income, you have to make income elsewhere. And I obviously took time out to make short films as well, which has inevitably given me more stuff to talk about and make content on. So it's just one of those things. It's like a wheel of doing stuff and then being able to bring it back to the channel. And yeah, it's all fun and games. I'm learning, and anybody that's been watching these lives will have seen that I'm going back to education kind of next year part-time to do a course all on YouTube. So I think that will help with this channel as well. It's going to be a kind of a guided whole year long thing where they help me learn what it is I really want to do on my channel and how to connect with the people and figure out what people want me to create as well. So I have loads of ideas. My ideas aren't always what you want to see, but I need to get that happy balance where I'm providing the value that you need and also creating stuff that I actually want to make. And I feel like I'm getting much closer to what that is. And yeah, I'm excited for next year and everything that's going to come with that. So that's really good. Does anybody have any questions at all? Or am I just going to listen to me babbling on my own? I'm trying to think what else I can talk about. I was just watching a video this morning of I can't remember what his name was actually. Oh, Jigsaw. This is Joel, by the way. Joel's in my community on school. Thanks for your lesson. That everything should be intentional in film. How come you chose Andrew's hoodie to be maroon and yellow? I love their design, by the way. Oh, and hello. Yeah, well, I was trying to visually get across the fact that Andrew has ADHD, and so I was sort of making their costume look as mismatched as possible. Hence, you have got the odd socks with one being rainbow and one being white. I wanted them to have this kind of quirkiness, and it's slightly unusual, I would say, to have a hoodie that's those sort of colours. And so I was drawn to that, and I was trying to make an outfit that kind of looked a little bit complimentary, but also a bit eccentric. So hence they've got the hat on and everything. Um, the hoodie was just that was the color scheme that I landed on. I wanted 2 different colors, and I was also, part of it was trying to find the right materials as well, but I just wanted to have something a bit more quirky, but also simple enough that I could make, and so that's why the hoodie was a 2 color thing. Um, I didn't have, other than the fact that, I wanted colors that didn't necessarily sit perfectly with each other. I didn't have specific reasoning behind the actual colors. It was more so that they just worked and I had those materials there, and I felt like it looked good as a whole. But, I was definitely going for the mismatched, quirky kind of look, and, uh, wanting Andro to kind of have a unique identity and a sort of "I don't really care" attitude. I'm just gonna wear, whatever I feel comfortable in, um, and that's sort of how the outfit came about. Originally, it was even quirkier than that, and I had gone really crazy, and I had a very, very, very kind of, colourful outfit. So I'd like got spots and stripes and all sorts of things. Because I was making this film in an educational setting, we got input from other people, and I got a comment that it was just too much and it was too chaotic. So I had to pare it back. So essentially, I just took colours that I liked from the original design, which was much more crazy, and then just simplified it and made it into this 2 colour jumper. And then just gave black trousers. So I guess your attention's more drawn to the rainbow sock, and the hat and everything. But, yeah, it was just a sense of this character's unique, which most ADHD people and neurotypical people are. They've got their own unique style, and they just embrace it, and that's who they are, and that's what I was trying to get across. Um, but another aspect, I guess, when you, and this was another actual reason for choosing those colours, uh, you've got to think about the location and the setting of your character and making sure that they stand out from the set. So I knew that I wanted the set to have a kind of a nautical feel, because the house that Andrew's in is actually located by the sea. It's based on the house that my nan lived in, and I have a feeling that she had ADHD. So there was a lot of reasoning behind all of that. And I knew that I wanted to have lots of blues for the walls and stuff in the set, and that if I made Andro have a yellow and maroon coloured hoodie, that would make Andro stand out against the set that they were in. Um, my film was particularly difficult in that regard as well, because there was so much mess and clutter. So there were a lot of colours going on, but I tried to make sure that my character was going to kind of not get lost in the set and stand out against the wall colours and everything. So I guess that's the main justification, for that. And you'll notice the floor in my set, it was, a puzzle piece design, so it looks like a jigsaw puzzle, but I did it in a kind of yellow ochre colour, because it was almost like sand. So the walls were like the sea and the sky, and then the floor was like the sand for kind of that nautical colour scheme. Um, I love nautical stuff, so I was just putting myself into the film as well. And yeah, like I say, the fact that that particular, house that I was basing that room on was actually situated by the sea. For anybody that's seen the film, you'll hear in the voice track that happened that you can hear seagulls and stuff. So I was trying to bring elements of that in as well, to kind of give you that idea of the location, because you don't ever see outside of that room. The whole film is set in the, um in the one location in the room. But yeah, anybody that's not yet seen the film, I just need to check some terms and conditions on a couple of festivals I have coming up, but I'm planning to put it live on this channel, on Christmas Day. So you'll be able to see it, and then I will do a live stream afterwards, where it'll be a Q&A where you can ask whatever questions you want all about that film, just like as if we were at a film festival. So you'll get direct access to me and my reasoning behind everything. Um, the other thing I was gonna yeah, so I've my film is almost at the end of its festival run, but it has just got into another festival, which is I can't even tell you what it is yet, I'm not allowed, but it's, quite a big deal, it's a good one. It's in the UK, and they're actually paying for me to they're paying for my travel and paying for a hotel, which is absolutely unusual for film festivals in the UK. European ones tend to be more generous, but this is the first one in the UK that's actually paid me to attend, so that's exciting. Um, Mark says, "Yay, I'll be watching Christmas Day for sure." Awesome. Yeah, I'm just gonna check the terms and conditions to make sure it's fine for it to go public, and then I will schedule that as soon as I can so people can prepare for when it goes live. Um, oh, and Joel says, "Hearing you talk about Hot Mess makes me love it even more. Perfect color choice." Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't have more justification behind them, but yeah, every single element of the film was really heavily thought through, and I guess, because the costume of the character did evolve from where it started, my reasoning for the colors wasn't as specific as other details, but yeah, I've got so much I could literally talk about it all day, so hopefully when I put the film out and you have all seen it and, there'll be tons of questions that you've got because there's so much going on, you'll literally have to watch it several times. There's so many details in it. Am I coming to any film festivals near Northwest? Um, I have been to quite a few, was it Northwest? I've been to one in, I don't think I've got any coming up, unfortunately. I've sort of run out of budget, so, unless they're kind of London-based or they're paying for me to attend, I'm not able to go at the moment. But, I went to one oh, where was it? It was near the Lake District. Oh, can't think where it was. Uh But Barrow-in-Furness, I went to one there, and I went to one in Darlington, and I've been to Bolton and, where else have I been? I've been to a few more that were more north, um, but yeah, it's so hard when you're, an independent short filmmaker because when you put your film into festivals, there are submission fees. Like some of them are free, but a lot of them have a fee. And if you imagine how many you might send your film to, it all adds up. And then there's costs beyond that. So when you do get into a festival, if you're planning to attend, you've usually got to pay to go. And then if it's far away, you need to stay there as well. And my money I mean, Hot Mess did far better than I ever would have expected, and I attended as many as I could. I think I probably attended 30, maybe 30, 40 festivals maximum that I attended in person. Quite a lot were in London. Um, I also went to one in Suffolk, um, and I went to one in Oxford. Uh, I've got one coming up in Cambridge, and there are loads that happened in America and in Europe. I did go to one in France. I got invited to one in Germany, but I couldn't go to they were paying for me to go, but I couldn't go. Yeah, I just had too much work on, and I also got really anxious because I haven't really traveled abroad. The one I went to in France, it was the first time that I'd been abroad, and I went on my own, so that was quite an experience. Uh, but yeah, it all costs quite a bit, um, and I sort of was self-funding that one, so, it was a bit painful on my finances. But, stumbling blocks, I managed to get some funding, small amount, and I had, £250 for film festivals, which has already gone on submission fees. Um, but yeah, I'm hoping that some will come up that I get into that are local and I can attend those. Um, yeah, Mark says, "Wow, you've done some traveling. I have to keep my eye out for next time you're coming around with a new short." Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll try and let you know because yeah, Stumbling Blocks is getting submitted now, and some of the festivals where Hot Mess got selected, I've sent it there because I've already got a kind of relationship with those festivals. That doesn't mean they're gonna select my next film, but I just thought I prioritize the ones that I know I already like and that I've attended and I think provide value for the filmmakers, and so I have sent my new film to Darlington and to Bolton, and I will be sending it to, um, I think it's actually the festival's Morecambe Bay. It's near Barrow-in-Furness, and they put my film on this summer in an extra festival thing they were doing in the bay or something. But I will be sending it there as well. Um, so yeah, there'll be quite a few opportunities where I might go up north again. Um, and yeah, it would be really good to see you if I end up going there. Um, but yeah, Stumbling Blocks has been submitted to festivals. Um, I've managed to send it to about 70 festivals for my £250 budget, which I think is pretty good going. Um, I managed to get some discounts and waivers, which for anybody that's submitting a film themselves, if you have um, Film Freeway, which is the main place where you submit to festivals, there's a thing called Gold where you can pay about 11.99 a month and you get a discount on all the submissions, and you can actually do a marketing thing where you get an email sent out to all of the festival directors for like thousands of festivals, and they get to see a snippet of your film, and if they like it, they can invite you to submit and give you a discount code. And so I got some discounts through that, which is really helpful because it does make your budget go further. And also, if you previously have submitted a film somewhere and it's been selected, reach out to that festival, say, hey, I've got a new film. Do you have an alumni discount? Because sometimes they do. And I got a few 20%, 30% discounts doing that as well. Mark says, wow, 70, that's crazy. I didn't even think there would be that many. Well, so Hot Mess, I sent to over 300 festivals. And it was because it was my first film that I'd ever finished that I was happy with. And I wanted to I did it in batches. So I did an initial submission batch and I saw how that went. Yeah, 300 is crazy. It's far more than most people do. But any of the films that are in the running for like Oscars and stuff, they will have sent it to that many because they've got the budget and stuff. So there are films that go crazy like I did. But a lot of the ones I sent to were free or very, very, very small in price. So I didn't spend an extortionate amount of money. But yeah, because it was my first kind of film, I was really like excited about it and I just got stuck in, and I probably sent it to about 40 festivals to begin with, and then I waited to see if it got selected anywhere. And when selections started to come in and then it won a couple of awards, I was like, oh, I'm going to try sending it to a few more. And so I just kept doing that. And it's got to the point where it's been selected at about 110 festivals now, which is also very crazy, and in over 20 countries. And I've had over 60 nominations, and it's currently won 25 awards. So it's done exceptionally well, far better than I could have ever predicted. Some of the awards aren't very meaningful because some festivals you win, and then if you're not able to attend, you forfeit a trophy. And sometimes they don't even send you a certificate. And if you try and message them and the festival's ended, often you just get blanked and they don't even reply. So I have got quite a few festivals where I won at, but I don't have anything to show for it really. I'm going to make my own little sort of trophies because I don't want to forget, you know, what happened. So I've got these little wooden blocks, a bit like Jenga bricks. And you may have seen if you watch the channel, I've now got a laser engraving machine, which was gifted to me by Creality, who's a company who makes those. And I'm going to laser engrave these little Jenga blocks with all of the achievements that I'm really proud of. So anything I don't have a physical thing for, I'm just going to have this little stack of Jenga blocks that I've made just so that I remember, because I forget everything. So it's just a good to have that memory there. Little Talks 3019 says, love to see you doing what you love and smashing it. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, no, It has been a wonderful couple of years for me because honestly, a few years ago, I felt like giving up completely. I'd kind of hit rock bottom with my creativity and I felt like nothing was working. And back then, I didn't realize quite how neurodivergent I was, and I didn't understand why I had the struggles that I did. Um, but then suddenly, everything kind of changed, and I figured out I have ADHD and autism, and I knew I already had dyslexia. And that whole cocktail of brain differences just makes me struggle a bit more with um, telling a story and figuring out structurally how to tell a story. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is why I have a hard time. And now I know that I am more patient with myself and kinder to myself. And this opportunity came up at the Aardman Academy. And I thought, you know what? Maybe this is my chance to finally make a film telling a story that I feel like I want to tell, because that outside accountability is so integral when you do have something like ADHD. It can be super hard to keep yourself accountable and to see a project through to the end. But when you've got somebody outside of yourself, same with work, if you have like a deadline and a boss or an employer, it really does help you get stuff done because there is this external thing that is kind of keeping you on track and pulling you through the project. And so, although at Aardman, we had to do everything ourselves, and a lot of what we were doing, we had to teach ourselves as well, and we just helped each other figure things out. Um, I because I was in that environment and it was exciting and a bit novel, I just pushed myself and I just got through it and I worked my ass off. I literally worked every single hour I could. I turned up early, I left late, I worked weekends, evenings, everything. And I'm so glad because I mean, I was absolutely exhausted by the end and it took over 6 months for me to recover my energy. But I'm so happy with that film that I made. Um, okay, Mark says, you can really show off and make a real Jenga, and when people are playing, be like, "Yep, that's just some of my awards running out of space, so decide to make a game." Yeah. No, yeah, completely. I think it would be really funny if people come around for a coffee and I'm just like, "Hey, check this out." I can probably show you. There's a bit of mess in my room, but that's my sort of trophy cabinet there. You can see some of my trophies. So I sort of I made it's a kind of it's using like recycled boat wood. And I bought it and it was discounted because it didn't have a shelf. And then I made the shelf. I used my laser cutter to cut a piece of perspex and then I screwed it in so I had a shelf so I could put more there. So that's my favorite awards are in that, to remind myself that I've achieved something, because I often forget. I do beat myself up a lot. It's amazing how much I still don't think I'm doing very well. And I never feel like I always feel like I could do better and I could do more. But I think that's probably a good attitude to do. I feel like the people that achieve the most in life have that sort of attitude. And I think most creative people, we're very rarely happy with what we've done, and we're constantly just pushing ourselves to be better. Um, Little Talks 3019 says, "You probably know me better." Oh, just Lily. Blast from the past. Oh, yeah, it's so nice to see you again. Well, not see you, but have you here. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's definitely been a journey. It's been up and down, but I feel like finally things are aligning and it's a fantastic feeling. I'm 36 now and I have never given up. I've always believed that eventually things would figure themselves out, and it's finally coming together. And I feel probably the happiest I've ever felt creatively, which is really, really good feeling, especially when you struggle so much. And I think that's why I'm so hyped and passionate about giving back this next year. So I'm building this school, um, SKOOL. If you're not there yet, it's a platform where you can build communities, and I'm just wanting to create this wholesome environment where we can all help each other with our stop motion and all kind of grow. And I can just inspire as many people as possible to make their own short films, because I think it's something everyone should try at least once. Um, Mark says, "Are you ever nervous traveling to these festivals on your own as you give off so much confidence?" Ah, Thank you. A lot of people say that that I'm confident. A lot of people don't realize how much I struggle internally. I can still remember that at the beginning of my journey, I was so nervous. I really didn't believe in my film. Not many people had watched it, and the first film festival it got selected at was called the Hidden Film Festival, and it played in a cinema underneath the British Museum in London, which was such a cool experience in itself. Um, and yeah, I went on my own, and it was probably a half full cinema, and I just was very like this, and I didn't really want to speak to anybody. I had to go up on stage to answer questions, and I was shaking. I was so nervous, and I can still remember that. I can still feel it if I picture being there. And soon after that, I had a couple of other local festivals. One of them was Richmond, in London as well, and I actually won an award there, and that was the first time I'd had to go up on stage to accept an award and then say something. And I was literally like this because I didn't know what to say, and I was just like I couldn't believe that I'd won something because I don't think I'd ever really won anything before in my life. Um, but yeah, I get incredibly nervous, but the more I've done, the easier it's got, and I think that I do have a much greater confidence in myself now. Saying that though, if there are large gaps between festivals, the nerves do come back, and I do have medication for anxiety. I even have like beta blockers, which if I get super overwhelmed, I can take. They're prescribed for panic. But it's essentially it's like neurodivergent overwhelm because being around lots of people and being somewhere I've not been before, and especially traveling, it is really overwhelming. I would say the worst one I've been to recently was going to France on my own. I was terrified. Like I almost felt like pulling out because I was just like, there's just so much that I've not done before. But I calmed myself down. The people that ran the festival were so helpful, and they connected me with other people from London that were attending. And I happened to meet one of them at the Eurostar in the waiting area. And then we figured out getting to the festival together. And then I met a whole bunch more people in my hotel, and they were all lovely. And I just got through it. And then I felt so accomplished by the end. On the way home, I did the whole journey back on my own. Um, I was traveling through Paris. Like I walked from, I'd got so the festival was in Rouen, in France, and I'd got a train back from Rouen to Paris, and then I had to walk from um, Saint, I think it's Saint Lazare to Gare du Nord, and so I was just walking and just enjoying all of the Parisian streets and like taking loads of pictures. And I went into a bakery and I managed to speak some very minimal French and order some pastries to bring home for my family. And then, with yeah, taking pictures, just about to go to Eurostar and hang out and wait around there. And I didn't realize that people outside the restaurants in Paris, they sort of tout for business. And I was taking pictures, and this man said something to me, and I thought, maybe I'm not allowed to take a picture, or maybe he wanted me to delete it. And he literally just, I went over to him and he just shoved this menu in my hands and was just like, to come into the restaurant. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I wasn't planning to have lunch and I've only just got enough time. So I just embraced it. It was quite an overwhelming experience because they sort of ushered me into this restaurant, which was full of people, and then swung this table out, put me in this seat, and then swung it back in. So I was literally trapped. I couldn't leave. Um, and then I ordered an omelette, and they said, "Did I want salad with it?" And I said, "Yeah, sure," thinking that would be complimentary, and then asked for tap water, thinking that would be complimentary. And then when the bill came, they charged me like €5 for the salad and €5 for the water. And I was like, oh gosh, a €9 omelette has just turned into a €20 omelette. But anyway, that was an experience. And I'm glad that I pushed myself and I did it. But yeah, it's hard. But I do really embrace the attitude that you've got to do things that scare you. And the only way to grow, and to not be scared and to just overcome your fears is to just keep doing things. So that's what I do, and I just keep going, and I've always done that. And I think going to places on my own, although that's also scary because if I was with someone else, I just would be fine. I wouldn't have a problem at all. But yeah, going on my own, it just really does kick the anxiety out of me and make me just face my fears and overcome things and just be able to do more, which I think is really important. Yes, Joel, €5 for tap water. And they were very cheeky because they presented it to me in an Evian bottle, a glass Evian bottle, which was very obviously not a brand new one. It was all scratched and everything, and it was just a bottle that they would put water in. And so I think that's how they justified that it was €5. But, I wasn't in a place to be able to argue because I didn't know the language well enough. And I just thought, you know what? I just am never going to do this again. I've learned that you don't you don't go into restaurants that you're not really wanting to eat at. Um, yeah, robbers, definitely. I think it's a little bit scammy. That's how it felt anyway. Um, but I was very fortunate that the festival had paid for most of my travel and also put me up in the hotel for free. So I wasn't too out of pocket in that regard. I just was buying food, but it was very unfortunate that my omelette became €20. um, Mark says, "You're brilliant at making others comfortable and inspiring. So I want you to know I am sure appreciative of all the stress and anxiety you must suffer with, but don't show, just like a swan." Oh, also, I bet you must feel great after you have. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So many people just almost don't believe that I am neurodivergent in a way, because of how together I guess I appear and positive and um, I guess I come across happy and approachable. But yeah, it's chaos internally, and um, like I've got better as I've got older. But like when I was younger, I used to sort of follow friends around because I was anxious and I didn't really feel like I had my own opinions on things even. I'd just absorb what other people liked and just take that on board, and that was my identity for a while, like when I was at school and stuff. And I used to, like, not even be able to pay for stuff in shops on my own because I'd be overwhelmed about, like, just the whole process and what would I say to the cashier and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, looking back on my life, I realized, um that there were so many signs early on that I had these issues, but I obviously didn't figure it out till later on. But yeah, um, Joel says, "How much masking do you think you do?" I think I do an insane amount of masking. I think that's why I get so exhausted. So I literally crash out after every festival. I'm just so tired. Um, this used to be the case with work as well. I've only ever had one sort of 9 to 5 job where I've been expected to go in to work and then come home, and at the end of every work day, I would just had nothing left. It would just be like eat, sleep, and then repeat literally. Weekends, I would never have any energy. Um, and the compounding of doing that job for about 18 months led to me burning out and being written off work medically by a doctor. So yeah, I feel like I mask very, very heavily. I remember, like, growing up, I'd watch so many videos on YouTube about body language and behavior and how to understand people and just noticing what other people would do. And yeah, because I don't really pick up on things all of the time. Sometimes, like, I just get confused by people. Um, and another thing that I feel has really elevated the way that I come across is doing YouTube. So I've been making videos on YouTube for about 10 years where I've been in front of the camera on various different channels. And when I first started, again, I was very, like, timid, and I'd just be like almost whispering and just very uncharismatic. I don't feel like me came across at all, but I really because obviously you have to edit yourself, which is excruciating to begin with. You're like, I hate my voice, I hate how I look, everything's horrible. But the more that I had to watch myself, the more I learnt what I liked and what I didn't like about how I came across. And so I guess I sort of, like, embraced that, and I evolved and kind of I learned that you have to give a little bit more to look natural on camera, and I think that just doing things like this, where I'm just talking to you now and just having to talk, and when you're making contents, like talking on a subject kind of eloquently and like making it make sense, it does really help. It's got such transferable skills to, say, now doing Q&As at festivals. When somebody asks you something, I find it much easier to come to an answer and not be like, I don't know. So yeah, I feel like it's just sort of that whole process of just keep doing, keep learning, and every single time getting 1% better. That's essentially my process. And after about 10 years of working on myself, it's compounded into me being me now. But there's still a hell of a long way for me to go. I am far from perfect. And if anybody ever looked at my house, it's incredibly embarrassing because I just can't manage my home life at all. Like everywhere is an absolute mess, just in like my film, hot mess. Um, when you see that, I mean, in some ways it's as bad as the film. In other ways, perhaps I'm not quite that bad, but it can get super out of hand, especially when I'm busy with work and looking after Willow and other things. Um, yeah, so it's challenging, but like we've all got challenges, right? We're all born with things that we have to learn to accept and adjust to. And I think part of life is to just learn to love those things about yourself and figure yourself out. And then I also think we're given specific things in life to kind of share with others. And like, I almost feel like ADHD was given to me because I'm the sort of person that's now using my experience to help other people. I feel like in most cases, people that are given an experience in life, they use that to kind of inspire others or to kind of to educate or help. I think that's so common. And I really truly believe that, the experiences that we're dealt are there to almost guide us on our path in life. Because sometimes it can be really like you have those moments where you're like, oh, what am I even doing here? What is the point in existing? But I do think that all those aspects of ourselves sort of kind of create the point, and then it's just about helping other people. Um, at least that's the way I've interpreted it. Um, and I'm really lucky that I've found stop motion and I love it. And it can be really hard as well because it's not like a job where people are paying me to do it. I either have to fund it myself or I have to find people to give me some money and fund it, which is really, really kind of competitive and difficult. Um, but not completely impossible. And that's another thing where you just have to keep going and keep sending your work to places and don't give up because you'll get lots of no's. There's huge amount of rejection in being creative and filmmaking and all of that. But somebody will give you a yes eventually. If you think of like there's so many successful people in like um like literature and films and actors and actresses and people that they had so much rejection and before they had success. Um, so yeah, if there's something that you want to do and you believe enough in yourself, just keep pushing, just keep going and putting your work out there because eventually things will align. And this is another thing actually, which I sort of had a light bulb moment the other day, is that I think it's good to like dream big and have a big goal. Sometimes it can feel very uncomfortable like getting to that goal and you think, "Oh my goodness, I don't know how to get there." And I feel like often the person we need to be to have achieved that goal isn't the person that we are right now. So we have to go through these uncomfortable things and these lessons and these little mini evolutions of ourselves to become the person that's aligned with that goal. And I feel like a lot of my struggle over the last decade was like essentially strengthening me and shaping me and teaching me to come to a place now where I'm much more in alignment with what it is that I wanted to be doing. But me, even 4 or 5 years ago, I wasn't in alignment with what I wanted to be doing, and I needed to learn those lessons along the way to now be able to be doing it. Um, Mark says, "I think you're a superhuman, and really think your mask is great, and I'm sure great under mask as well." Ah, and just so kind. Thank you so much. No, I really, really do appreciate that. Um, I I always just, yeah, just do my best and things. But yeah, I'm just so grateful for everybody that shows up here and that follows along and supports me and just doesn't give up. And because I know I've been inconsistent and I have my struggles and I'm very honest about that. And I think that that's a really important aspect as well. I think everybody should embrace both the good and the bad and not try and mask and hide everything. Um, I'm very honest about my failures and my shortcomings, and I'm so grateful for people that just stick around despite all of that as well. So thank you very much, Mark. Um, Grandma Bird's Nest says, "Hey, finally catching a live stream. I'm in Texas and it's late here, but glad to be here with you." Oh, hello and welcome, and thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. It's so lovely to have people to chat to and to just share the love of stop motion with. Mark also says, "I'm such a fan groupie. I'm the number one fan for Tortoise in Liverpool." Oh, my film did play in Liverpool. I didn't actually I wasn't able to attend that one, but it played at LA One Shorts. I don't know if you've heard of that festival, but yeah, it did play in Liverpool. I think in the summer. But yeah, it's so great to have you here, Mark, and you've been with me for many years now, and I really really appreciate you. Um, and yeah, thank you so much for sticking with me, and it's so lovely. Oh, we've got Joel now saying, "Well, I'm Tortoise number one fan in Australia." Woo! Got people all over the world. I love this. I love how it's possible to connect with people all over the world. And Joel, you've been following me for years as well, like many many years. At least 5. I don't know how many exactly, but uh, it's incredible. Just to have you here. I love it, and yeah, I just look forward to us all growing and evolving together and creating some awesome stop motion work. I know you've got some exciting stuff coming up, Joel, which I'm looking forward to seeing next year. And yeah, what does Mark say? Mark says, "I'm going to make my own fan T-shirt and come to one of your festivals, and will really embarrass you in a positive way." Oh, I'd love that. Thank you. Yeah, no, that would be great. Um, I've just made some new postcards. I can, well, they're over there, but with my new film on, so I've got postcards to give out at festivals as well, and I've still got some hot mess ones too. So I might do maybe on Christmas Day when my film plays, I'll do a mini giveaway where I choose um one or two, or I'll see how much budget I've got, but I'll choose a few people to send postcards to, and I'll write something on them as well, because I think that would be fun. Um, Since 2017, Joel. Wow. That is awesome. That's getting on for 10 years. Wow. Okay. So we're like basically best buddies now. That's really, really cool. I hadn't realized it was that long. I can't believe how fast time goes. That's crazy. Um, and Mark says that I'm their therapist. Oh, I just, yeah, it's quite funny. I am very bad at following my own advice, but I've always been one of those people that others come to me for like advice, and somehow I think probably because I've watched a lot of content on self-improvement, I can just regurgitate a load of stuff that people find value in. I wish I could follow it all myself. I seem to just follow something for a while and then forget the good thing that I was doing, and then yeah, I think that's probably an ADHD thing. But I'm glad that I'm able to uh, help and say things that make sense to other people and that are valuable and inspiring. That uplifts me so much because part of my mission is to just motivate and inspire. I'm going to rebrand this channel slightly to be kind of like helping other people with ADHD to make creative things, especially short stop motion films, something like that. It's a channel for everybody that's interested in stop motion, but I am super, super passionate about helping others that have similar struggles to me to just get stuff done because it is so difficult. But it is so possible once you figure yourself out and if you surround yourself with great people. Um, so yeah, we all are going to do amazing things next year. Um, Mark says, I'm 42 and Tortor is wiser than Mr. Miyagi from Karate Kid. Oh, um, yeah, I'm a little bit older than I look. I'm 36. Um, but yeah, I have spent so much time on my own with my own thoughts, and I've had so many frustrations with myself that I've just tried to like figure stuff out. I have that attitude of like just kind of self learning and self improvement. Um, and yeah, so in every way, creatively and personally, I'm always striving for more and being better. And then going back a couple of steps and forgetting everything, but then relearning it and improving again. So yeah, I'm very glad that I can be here for other people and help spur you on as well. Um, Grandma Bird's Nest says, "What are your thoughts about uploading a storyboard slash animatic before actually finishing the project?" I think that that can be a really valuable tool because I tell you this, with my latest film, Stumbling Blocks, I was the almost solo voice on it. I had worked on my own uh, because the people that gave me the small amount of funding were very hands off and they just gave me the money to buy the materials and get started and just let me do my own thing. And it's incredibly difficult when you're just on your own to know if your story works completely. And sharing a storyboard or animatic more publicly with others is a fantastic way to try just test your story. They do this in the industry. So um, films that are being made or TV shows with a pilot episode, they will play that in a cinema to a test audience, probably multiple test audiences in different regions of a country and get their feedback and just test to see if the story works. So putting it out there is a really good way. Ask people that you're close to and that you trust, and ask some total strangers as well to just see if your story makes sense. Ask them what they think the story is and what you're saying, and try not to be too precious over your work and really listen to them. Of course, you can disagree, and if you can justify why you've done something, that's totally okay. But sometimes, if something is flagged at that development stage, it's going to save you so much time making your film. Because if you make it and then you share it with the world, and then people are like, "Well, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense." And I did have that remark on Stumbling Blocks, which completely threw me because I was like, "Oh God, does it not make sense?" But it's fine. Since then, it's had some selections at film festivals and people do understand it. It was just, you know, you're not gonna please everybody, but, it did make me go back to what I'd done, and I tightened up the edit by about 14 seconds just because it made me so paranoid that it didn't work. But yeah, share it with the world as early as you can, get feedback, get their thoughts, and then change it from there. Mark says, I would like to see a video on tie downs with a walking sequence and not making the puppet move wrongly when animating. Yeah, okay, I can do that. I hadn't worked with tie downs before, well, not properly before Hot Mess, because it can feel quite intimidating. You have to like literally drill holes in your set floor and you're like, "No, oh," but, it's completely fine, and once you have done it, it is, that's all I want to use now. So, stumbling blocks, I also use tie downs, and it's, I think, the sturdiest way to hold your puppet steady, and then with the little holes in the set, you can mix clay to be a similar color and fill it in so that it's a little bit less visible in other shots. or just put a prop over it and try and hide it as much as you can. And that's another reason why planning can be really important, because you want to animate your film in a kind of a way that avoids showing too many holes and stuff. If you're able to plan for that, then that's really, really good. Um, Mark says they must need their head testing. Of course, it makes sense. Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I hope so. I've shared it with quite a handful of people now, and it's amazing because I created it in a way where I was hoping people could kind of interpret it in their own way and based on their own life experience get something different from it. And I've had so many different, similar but different analysis of the film, that I'm really pleased because it is being interpreted in different ways. But yeah, the feedback I got was actually, it was from the National Film and Television School. I had an interview there. I decided to show the film Stumbling Blocks, and they were very harsh and horrible, and their feedback stuck with me for weeks and really messed me up a little bit. But I don't think they really knew what they were talking about, even though they were supposedly experts. Yeah, so I am happy with it now, and I have confidence in it again. And I think it's good. And when I show it, I might show it in my school community. I'm not sure. I wasn't going to show it until it's had its world premiere. I'm going to send it to Annecy, which is the biggest animation festival in the world, and see if they like it. I've also sent it to Tribeca. I didn't really have budget for anything more than that in terms of big festivals because they tend to be more expensive. Um, and Grandma Bird's Nest says, "Great advice, thanks. You're more than welcome." And yeah, send me a link. I'm be more than happy to have a look as well. And Grandma Bird's Nest also says, "What's your dog's name?" My dog's called Willow. And when you see Hot Mess, there's a dog in that film which is also called Willow, and it looks like her, and it's based on her. She's not here right now because my sister's looking after all the dogs this morning. Because my sister's here with her dog, which is called Pumpkin, and that's my dog's sister. And then my parents also have another dog called Pickle, which is also my dog's sister. So we have three sisters as a family. I'm hoping one day to bring them all on the stream. Um, that's going to be absolute chaos, but also quite fun because they all have different personalities. Pumpkin loves squeaky balls and almost uses them like a dummy and just squeak, 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 squeak. And then Pickle is much more chill. Like if Pickle was my dog, she wouldn't be bringing me stuff during a live stream. She wouldn't be barking. She'd just be literally asleep over there behind me the whole time. She's just the most chill dog ever. But they're all sisters. Um, yeah, yeah, Mark. Oh my God. Experts. Ha. They don't know what they're talking about. Can't wait to see. Oh yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know whether they were testing me. It was an interview setting, but they literally said they didn't understand it. I said, "Well, tell me what you think it means." And one of them explained it, and I was like, "Well, yeah, that's basically what it means." But they still said that they felt like the way I had made that film was um not clear narratively, and they said, "Oh, it's open to interpretation." I was like, "Well, I wanted it to be open to interpretation." Anyway, they didn't offer me a place in the end. They offered me a reserve spot for the directing animation course there. And after the workshop and the interview and the feedback that I requested afterwards, which was also quite jarring and completely contradicted how I felt my experience went, I decided it wasn't right for me. So I rejected um, the reserve position and decided I don't need to go to a film school. I've learnt enough. I'm just going to figure things out on my own from here, make my own films. And then I applied for a different course, which was this one about YouTube. And then I did get a place. And it just feels much more aligned and fun. And I'm really looking forward to it. Oh yeah, Pumpkin. Pumpkin's a great name. Yeah. Um, she's a very characterful little dog. She's a bit like a court jester, and she sort of walks like this. And she's very humorous with what she does. Um, she's got this strange habit. So we play fetch in my kitchen here with a little tennis ball, and both Willow and Pumpkin, they play together, and Pumpkin just the ball, and she's like, "Oh, there's a water bowl there," and she drops it in the water bowl and she dunks it, and then she shakes it, and then she dunks it again. I mean, it's it's quite funny. It cracks us up every time. But yeah, it's just it's just so messy. But yeah, no, it's lovely that they all have different personalities. Um, Grandma Bird's says dog stream. Yes, yeah, it'll be a dog stream. I'm gonna figure out where's the best place to do it. Whether to take my laptop into the kitchen and then like have them all there, so I can be throwing a ball down the kitchen. Perhaps I'm not sure. My sister might be there as well, but she doesn't want to be on the stream. So yeah, but the dogs, they will quite happily show themselves, so that could be really fun. Um, Mark says they must have never played with blocks when they were children. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Ugh. Oh well. I've put it behind me now. It's an experience, and it did make me rethink and be more critical over what I'd created, which probably has made the film even better now because I just tightened up the edit and stuff. So yeah. Um, Grandma Bird's Nest says wholesome. Oh, thanks. And Mark says hilarious. Yeah, they are. They are absolutely hilarious. And Pickle, she's very like curious. That's a good way to describe her. Um, Sometimes, like if the sun's shining, if you're wearing a watch and the watch face can like create a little reflection, and she's just like all over the place, trying to follow. Or if you've got a laser, like she follows a laser like a cat. She's very curious about everything. If she sees her reflection in water, I think in a video I posted the other day, there's like a rock pool and she's like paddling. It's because she can see herself in it and she's just like, "Ooh, this is exciting." Um, but yeah, I did make another channel. I can't remember what I called it. When they were puppies, I was putting out videos of them as puppies. If I can find that, I will post a link if anyone's wanting to see them when they were little, because they were very little. We got them at 8 weeks old, and literally they could all sit on my lap at the same time quite comfortably. And now, like, one is enough. It's very hard to fit two of them on your lap. But yeah, um, does anybody else have any other questions? I've been on for over an hour now, an hour and 7 minutes. So I'll just be a bit aware of people's time, and I don't want to I don't want to waffle on for too long. But if anybody desperately wants to know something, what are you feeling about these live streams? Do you prefer it when I just do a relaxed sort of ask me anything like this one, or do you like it when I talk about a specific topic? Um, I've got a few more ideas coming up for topic based ones, but I'm happy to do whatever. UK man 9797. How many ideas do you have at one time, and how do you decide which one to commit to? Well, this is really hard. I have so many ideas. Like I've got probably six that I feel have potential at the moment for short films, but I have more than that. Sometimes I just have a title that I'm like, "That's a really good title. There's a film in that." Sometimes it's just a character that I have. Um, some like I had a thought the other day of a character called Dump, like, and it's like down in the dumps, and it's like I don't know whether the character was a bin or I don't know. It's very undeveloped, but like just I have random things like that come into my head. I really want to do a film about hoarding. Um, Again, that would be a complicated one because there'll be a lot of props needed. I want to do more films about ADHD and being neurodivergent. I want to try and do films that showcase anxiety in creative ways and the experience of that. I had an experience with an elderly neighbor, which I felt is a really important story to be told. I don't want to give too much of that away because I'm currently trying to pitch for funding, but yeah, I really want to tell that story. I've got so many ideas. The best bit of advice I had for how do you know what is the story that you should be telling and what's the best idea Somebody said to me, if you had just been hit by a truck and you were lying in the gutter and you only had enough life left in you to tell one story, you only had the energy or the words to just share one thing that was going to be left with the world as your sort of legacy, what would that film be that you just had to make? You know, that you had to get out of you. You felt like if you only had enough life left to just get that one thing out there in the world, what would it be? And sometimes thinking like that can really help you focus, and to figure out which is the most important story for you to tell, because I think a lot of the stories that we have and we come up with for short films are very personal and usually based on some sort of life experience that we've had. And there's usually something, that really lights your heart and your soul up. And you feel like, I just need to tell that. And you're the only person who could tell it in the way that you would share it with the world. And so I don't know if that's helpful to you, but I feel like that's going to help me to identify the next film that I focus on. Grandma Birdsnest says, "I just like hanging out." Oh, thank you. I like hanging out too. It's really fun. Yeah, I really am enjoying. I mean, before I did the first live a few weeks ago, I was so scared because I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm going live," but I'm really loving it now, and I'm like, I want to do it again. I could do it twice a day. I'm not going to do it twice a day, but you know what I mean. Mark says, "I think it's been brilliant, but unfortunately, I keep missing the live ones. But would love to attend all of them." Oh, I'm really pleased that you've made it along to this one. I'm going to try and give more notice. The trouble is, sometimes when I do give notice, it gets to that time a few days, like if I plan one for a few days' time, and then I'm like, oh, I don't feel like it right now. And then I'm like, I feel bad if I don't show up because obviously I've said that I'm going to show up. So when I just spontaneously go live, that works better for me because I just go live when I have the energy and the enthusiasm. I don't want to come on here feeling all like tired and low energy. But yeah, I'm going to try and obviously with my film, when I show that, it will be give you at least a couple of days notice. But yeah, I had intended to schedule things far further ahead of time, but I do struggle with that a little bit. I'll just be honest about that. Um, and Mark also says he's a hoarder. I think so many of us are hoarders. I'm a sort of part-time hoarder. I go through phases, and like there are some rooms in my house which you would definitely describe as a hoarder's house because I have literally just bunged all of my mess and overflow into that one space, and you can hardly go in that room. Um, but my nan was a hoarder, and she passed away last year, and we're in a very difficult time at the moment. Where we're having to sell her house because we can't afford to keep it going. But it's a tiny house. It's literally like a tiny house. It'd be far too small for most people to live there, but she had packed it so full of stuff. Thankfully, she was creative, and a lot of it was stuff that I've now inherited, like materials and paper and card and threads and all sorts of interesting bits that I can use in my stop motion films. But it was absolutely so much hard work going through that. So that's where my inspiration comes for my hoarder film. Um, and Mark says, not even a joke, but it is all good stuff. But I know that's what a hoarder would say. That's the thing, though. Yeah, everything could be useful. You never know when it might be useful. And the moment you chuck it away, you're like, oh my God, I need that thing. Where is it? And then you've chucked it away. I can completely relate to that. I have so much stuff. I have far too much stuff. But when you are creative and you make stop motion films, anything could be useful. I have packaging that I've kept, boxes, bubble wrap, foam. I've got like upholstery foam. So someone was getting rid of a sofa and I was like, can I have the foam? I've got loads and loads of card and paper. My new obsession at the moment is paper quilling. So you have these very thin strips of paper, and you have like a tool and you spin them around and you make this coil, and then you can like shape it into different shapes. And it's just my happy place to just relax. No pressure. I'm not doing it for anybody else, and it's cheap to buy strips of paper, so I bought a lovely big box full, and I can just go to town and have fun. I think this afternoon, I'm just gonna spend some time doing that, chilling out. Um, but yeah, I have all sorts of things, and like I say, if I don't see it in front of my face, half of the stuff I don't know I have. So trying to organize it all and sort it, I've been uncovering all sorts of gems, and I'm like, "Wow, there's an idea in this." So yeah, uh, Mark also says, "I'd say watch Tortor short film." Oh, yeah, I'm hoping that anybody that's not seen it will come and watch it on Christmas Day, and then be able to ask me whatever questions you want, because I'm sure you will have lots of questions. I'm also actually, I've just reminded myself. So I put out a series when after I made it, of shorts. I think most people will have seen it, where I was making Hot Mess, and I kind of did a bit of behind the scenes. But I really want to do a proper, more comprehensive behind the scenes video, which I did start editing and I haven't finished. I want to put that out around the time I put out the film. So that's something that I need to prioritize finishing. So yeah, thank you. You've reminded me. Grandma Birdness says, "Good night, everyone. Thanks for letting me in the chat." Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for showing up. I hope you have a good sleep, and that you have a wonderful holiday season. And I'll probably hopefully catch you again on another stream. But yeah, thank you very much for staying up and being here. Mark says, "Paper and pens are the best presents." Yeah. Oh my god, I have so many pens. Literally, I've just pots and pots of pens and things, but they are really useful. One of my favorite pens that I got recently was one of those chrome pens where it looks like metallic, really shiny metallic metal, and you can like draw it onto all sorts of different surfaces, and it almost looks like a mirror. So useful for doing little miniature things, and especially like stop motion props. That was actually a Temu buy. So yeah, I am going to put this video together as well. My best buys from Temu for stop motion, because I know it's not like the best place to buy things for, like, but things are cheaper and we're all on budgets, and we've got to try and make our budgets stretch as far as we can. And I found so many really good buys there. Um, to help me with making sets and props and stuff. So yeah, I want to share that. But I also want to share other things, like materials for clothing and why certain materials are good. And the other day, well, not the other day actually, it was probably months ago now, but I was in a shop and I saw these. They were advertised as table runners for Christmas, and it's sort of material to look like snow. I've actually got them there. I can just go and get one. 1 second. So it's called faux white table runner. Like, this was not expensive. I think it was 350, and it's 2 meters long, right? It is the nicest quality white fur you will have ever seen. You can cut it and it doesn't fray at the edge. It's got such a fine texture. Now, if you were doing stop motion and you wanted to have a snowy floor or a snowy roof on a house, I think that this would be absolutely perfect. So I don't have a use for it right now, but I always think to the future, and I love snow and Christmas. And I know that, well, the film idea that I have regarding an elderly neighbor, that one would require like a street scene, and it could definitely be set in the snowy season. And in fact, it would probably make more sense for it to be set then. This is going to be like so good for doing something like that. So sometimes you can find things that aren't meant for the purpose of stop motion, but actually they can be really good. So yeah, always be on the lookout for stuff that has a finer texture, um, that would work in a miniature scale. For doing clothing, often kids' clothing, it's got a tighter weave and a smaller scale weave that can be really good for doing miniature clothing, because it's also got that stretch. And when you're making clothes for a puppet, you want it to be able to stretch around the armature, but also have enough stretch that you can like move the limbs and it's gonna sort of move with it and not restrict the movement. So yeah, there's some of my top tips on materials. But yeah, I will make a dedicated video on that as well, in the new year when I get organized. Um, yeah. So what else can I say? Um, I don't know. I've got like with my laser cutting machine, I mean, it's not as accessible that because I think that retails at about £500. It's not something everybody can get their hands on. But I do think that it's got uses for making props. And I want to explore cutting like flat sheets of basswood to make miniature furniture and stuff like that. Um, and perhaps even do a comparison of like what it's like to make it on a laser cutter and what it's like to cut it by hand, maybe like with balsa wood, and do a side by side. I think that could be fun. Basically, I just want to just keep playing and experimenting and learning next year and just sharing like whatever ideas I have, um, and hopefully like inspire you with ideas as well. Yeah, and we'll just see what happens. Has anybody else that's watching got any questions? If not, I might leave soon because it's been an hour and 20 minutes. um, I've got a mountain of washing up to do. I know that's not very fun, but if I do it now before lunch, it'll be done, and it means this afternoon I can relax and chill out and probably watch a Christmas movie, get myself in the spirit because I have been so busy. I haven't even put up a Christmas tree yet. I might not even manage to put it up. I don't know. It's up in the loft, so I'll have to get it down. But yeah. Oh, Joel's got one more question. Um, oh, for another time. Yeah, no, it was lovely to have you here live as well, Joel. Thank you so much for showing up. I tried to go live at a different time today to suit people in different parts of the world because I know not everybody's in the UK or America. You're in Australia. It's very hard to make the time work for everybody, but I'm gonna try and vary it so that everybody gets a chance to be here whilst I'm actually live. Anyway, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their weekend, and if you celebrate Christmas or um, are having a holiday around Christmas, I hope that you have a fantastic time and yeah, chill out, relax, get creative, let your mind be free and write down some ideas. And in the new year, we can all make some amazing stuff. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And I will catch you again in another live stream very soon. Bye.